Hello, welcome to my allotment here in Nottingham. It is 10th of October and it's been a very hit and miss day. Very sunny, very overcast, very rainy, very warm, very cold. So, you know, I'm not surprised that this is the time of year things start shutting down because I'm struggling to deal with it, I'll be honest with you. It does look like a lot of the beds are emptying out, but there is still plenty of things that we can be doing at this time of year, especially things that we can be sowing and growing at this time of year. So without further ado, I'll show you the things that are them. So we're on the 10th of October now, and this is a perfect time of year to be planting some daffodils if you want some nice spring colour in the garden. I've already got a few lying around, but it seems every year you plant a few more, don't you? Now I've just got this bag of, what are they, mixed daffodils. So you probably see on the picture there the different types of ones that we've got. I've just prepared a bit of a bed. I'm going to start getting ready to plant these up now. You're probably best, September to December, something like that, if you want to make sure they flower the same year. So first thing, just there's your daffodil bulb there. Do you see that? Just have a quick check of it, give it a little squeeze. It should be nice and firm. If it's a nasty rotten one, you want to get rid of that. Obviously pointy end is the top, that faces up, and then you've got your basal plate, your little rooty bit at the bottom, the flat bit, obviously that goes in the bottom. So just go through, give them a good squeeze and check them over. So I have prepared this lovely bit of a bed here. All I'm going to do is get my daffodils now and just start laying them out on the surface. Here we go, this is one that I was just talking about now. Looks like a daffodil, but when you squeeze it, it's really soft. It splits open. As you can see, it's all manky inside. You don't want to mess about with that one. I've just laid those out. I've gone for kind of as natural a pattern as possible. But they're just all laid out on the soil now. I'm pretty happy with the layout on those, so I'm going to get them buried. Now, a basic rule for your daffodils is that you want to go twice the depth of your bulb. So let's say that's the surface of your soil, and that would be at the surface. So you want to go 1 times, 2 times. So they want to be about the same distance of a bulb under the soil, if that makes sense. Now you can dib a hole, you can dig a hole, you can even get special bulb planters that will help you out. What you don't want to do is just get the bulb and force it physically into the soil, because not only is that going to compact the soil at the bottom, it's also got a good chance of damaging this plate as well, where the roots are going to grow from. So what I just tend to do, little hole, drop it in, cover it over. And then I shall work my way around all the rest of them. And there we go, don't they look absolutely beautiful? Don't be silly, Matthew. Now they'll start to pop up in the next few months and we'll be greeted with a beautiful floral display. Well, a little rain shower's driven me back inside actually, so it's that time of year, isn't it? You come down in the morning absolutely freezing with 5 jumpers and 6 coats and welly boots and thermal long johns and all sorts on. I mean, 10 minutes of working, you're sweating your bucket, so you take all your layers off and then it starts chucking it down, so you put them all back on, then you stood there damp and wet and hot and cold. Oh, it's good fun, isn't it? Good fun. Great hobby, great hobby. Oh. So I mentioned garlic a little bit earlier. Now, traditional time, I suppose, to plant garlic would be the shortest day, harvest it on the longest day. The shortest day was it just before Christmas usually. I'm going to give some a go now because the weather at the minute and the last few years has been anything but traditional. Springs have been very warm and dry, and then summers have been very hit and miss, so I'm going to try it now. So hopefully these garlic will get a decent root system going, protrude a couple of inches of leaves out, and then they sit there until springtime when they get going, and they're well ahead of anything that you plant out in the spring. The garlic bulb itself, I've got this one here to try. Casablanca. I think I've tried Casablanca from Wilco's before, so that's how you'll get it. Whoa! What you want to do is break it down into the individual cloves carefully, which there we go. Now, don't want to peel the cloves at all, you're not cooking with them. So leave the papery skin on the outside of them, just do enough to separate them, and then obviously individual clove. So you've got your basal plate, your flat bit at the bottom, your point at the top there, obviously roots out the bottom, shoots out the top. So from one of them you get one of them, and that's how you basically grow and multiply with your garlic. So I'm going to get on with these anyway. I'm going to separate them all here in the shed where it's nice and dry, and yeah, look at planting them outside. So from that one clove then we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Now some of these smaller ones here, there's no reason that they wouldn't grow. I personally am not going to bother with them. They're just a bit small to really worry with. But some of the other ones, even like, you know, that size, that'll be absolutely fine. There's not a huge amount of correlation between the size of the clove and what you will end up with. It's more to do with the conditions that they're in and when they're growing. That's that one, that's the Allium sativum. I've also got these ones which I grew myself last year. These are just 4 that I've saved over, which you know, I'm also going to have a go at. These were what I was talking about, me spring planted ones last year didn't get as big. If you compare the size of those two, you can see that's one I grew myself some spring, and that's one that's been probably grown from the previous autumn. So you can see the kind of difference that you get. You still get a nice bit of garlic out of it, don't you worry about that, but so I should give a couple of these a go as well. I'm going to save a few for next spring, just because, you know, I'm stuck in my ways and stubborn. As you can see, I harvested these ones probably June, July, and they've stored absolutely fine just here in the shed. Now I've got this bed here ready for my garlic, which it's just been dug over and just raked and all the weeds removed. I am going to go in there with a little bit of something for the garlic to get stuck into, which is this stuff here, bloodfish and bone. So that's just like an all-purpose fertiliser that you can scatter over the soil. I'm just going to give that a little going over and then rake it in, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. I'm quite lucky here because the ground is it's good, it's well draining, it doesn't get waterlogged. Obviously throughout the winter and at this time of year with the amount of rain that we're having, if your soil is especially damp or waterlogged or, you know, really heavy, it's probably best not to try and put your garlic out now, because they can just sit in water and they will rot out. You can start them out in pots, in modules, and then plant those out when the weather improves. But that's not the case for me, so I'm lucky. What I've got is I've got this board here that'll give me a nice straight edge to work across when I'm planting. And I've also marked it out in 6-inch increments. So I've just got a little mark there just to tell me how far apart I want to plant my garlic. When planting your garlic out, you want to be about 2 garlic depths down. So if that's the level of your soil, you want to be 1 garlic clove underneath the soil. So not like that with the tip showing like you would an onion, but actually fully covered underneath. Alright. There we go, we're about ready to plant now, so I'm just going to crack on and mark out where I want each of my plants. There we go, that doesn't look too bad, does it? So we're just going to get them in the soil now. Now again, like what we said with the daffodils, you don't just want to wedge these into the soil, because you can damage that base plate there. So if you can, even if your soil's loose, just make a little hole with your finger, drop them in, cover them over. I'm just getting ready for the second row now, which I'm going in at about 1 foot, which is 12 inches or 30 centimetres or 300 millimetres, however you want to play it. That's purely so that when they're all growing, I can get in between these rows here to get the weeds out. If I pack them all too tightly, it'll just be a tangle of like leaves and all sorts, and I won't really know what's what. Certainly won't be able to get my hoe down there. So yes, I'm going to do exactly the same on the second row. Diddle-a-do, do-do-do-do-do. There we go, that's 2 rows of garlic in. We've given those everything they need now to grow up big and strong. So hopefully they will start to root, and we might even see some shoots in the next month or so. So we'll be looking forward to some garlic then, probably May, June next year, hopefully, if everything goes well. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's plenty that you can be sowing at this time of year. Now, it's not going to be any of your spectacular items, but I'm certainly going to have a go at a few bits now, and we'll show you what they are. I've mixed up some nice compost here. What I've got here is equal mixes of vermiculite and seed sowing compost, which is the fine sandy stuff, and just some regular multi-compost. Now, anything that you do sow at this time of year is going to run more of a risk of things like waterlogging and damping off, purely because it's going to be a bit colder, it's going to be a bit damper, you've not got the intense heat and sun evaporating and constantly drying out your soil. So you just want to help it out by having something as free draining as possible. So this is quite a gritty mix here, and that'll certainly help that anyway, prevent it getting waterlogged, but still plenty of nutrients in there for the little plants to get hold of. What am I going to use is I've got some of these half-sized seed trays here. We're going to get a few bits gone, so I'm going to start out, just fill these up with a bit of compost, as you do. So rejoin me when I've got some compost in some seed trays. It's going to be great. There we go, nice easy job there. This is all, like I said, quite a bit dry, so I'm just going to give it a little spraying, just so that the seeds, when I put them in, aren't sitting on dry soil, they're sitting on some nice damp stuff. So I'll give them a spray, leave it a few minutes to really soak in. Oh, I'll see you in a few. And with that done, the first thing that I am going to sow is this one here. This is called Red Kitten Spinach. Now, spinach prefers cooler weather anyway. I don't know if you guys have tried sowing it or growing it in the middle of summer. Always usually goes to seed, doesn't it? So this one will be grown for baby leaves, so you'll probably only get a little plant and you'll take the whole thing, munch on it and enjoy it. But these guys will certainly be happy enough growing away at this time of year. So, just going to sow. Oh dear. I'm just going to sow some of these into one of these little half trays here. They are... How many have we got? Yeah, I'll probably do all of them. If you have a look, little spinach seeds. And then just going to get them in the soil, really. Sprinkle them on. Oh, it's starting to rain again for a change. These are sort of big enough that you can see where they're going, more or less. And they're not going to be growing too big, they're not going to be getting too established, so we don't have to worry too much. And so we just want something to munch on during these cold winter months. Right, so I'm just going to give those a little dusting over now, a bit of a covering with... I'm squished. Just going to give them a little covering with some fine compost, and then give them a bit of a watering. They'll be absolutely fine. So that one again, spinach, Red Kitten, give it a go. Doesn't have to be Red Kitten, I think a lot of spinaches can be grown this time of year. Ta-da! I'll just get a little bit of that over the top. You probably can't see that, can you? I'll say it again. Just get a little bit of that over the top. There we go. Just enough to cover them seeds over. And there we go, that's about as easy as it gets. Right, I'm going to label them up. I have got some lolly sticks here, which I shall use. Well, they're lolly stick labels anyway. So, spinach, Red Kitten. Red Kitten. Bosh. Right. Right, next thing I'm going to have a go at is this one, spring onion. This one's called White Lisbon, but I'm sure you can try a lot of different types. Now the spring onions, again, what I'll probably be doing is growing them till they look almost like grass, and then I'll just be chopping them off almost like chives, if you like. If they grow on, that's fine, but I'm going to be growing these just for the tops, just to add a bit of flavour to dishes to get some fresh greens going. So, let's have a go. These ones, as you know, look like all onion seeds, or most allium seeds anyway. It's little bits of dry black ash almost. There we go. And again, I'm going just with the rough broadcast approach. And, you know, sprinkles. Yeah, and these ones should grow away absolutely fine at this time of year. There we go, don't have to be too cute once again. A little bit of something over the top. And there we have it. Right, where's my lolly stick? Once again, what have we got? We have got white Lisbon spring onion. Right, moving on to the next lot that we can sow right now in the middle of October. I've got this one, as you can notice, they're all coming out of kitchen garden. That's just because that's where my seeds mainly come from. But this one, salad, leaf, mixed oriental leaves. So we've got Mabuna, mustard, red giant, pak choy, komatsuma, tender green, Mizuna, and Chinese cabbage wong bok. Now these can all be grown just as baby leaves, just to be picked again like with the spinach. As they come up, pull them and eat them. So again, very simple process. I'm just going to get some of them sown into one of these little trays. Let's have a little look. Oh, they're looking almost like brassica seeds actually, do you see them? I don't know if you're going to get any light to them. But yeah, I was expecting more like a lettuce type of seed. But yeah, these are definitely sort of smaller and rounder. Oh, we'll give them a go. How many seeds do we get in that packet? Shall we do the lot? Let's do the lot. Average content. I don't say. Not many. Right, let's get them sown. Right, so that's that in there, my old wong bok plus others. Hope you can hear me over the sound of the rain and the sunlight still filtering in the windows and all sorts. Right. And then again a little label with my pen. Where's my pen? So we're going to call this mixed oriental, I think. You see a lot of people, I go on the Facebook groups like Allotment Beginners UK and that sort of thing. See a lot of people, a hell of a lot of people this year saying, where do I start with an allotment, where do I start, because I've got this overgrown patch. I always say the best place to start is with a shed or with a shelter, because there's no joy in coming down here to do some work just for it to get rained off straight away. So always, you know, get yourself somewhere dry, get yourself somewhere where you can sit down and have a hot drink or cold drink or any kind of drink. But yeah, I always think that's the best starting point really. You've got to try and make it comfortable. Yeah, you need to be able to use the bathroom, and you need to be able to keep yourself out of the rain. Because as it is, that rainstorm, if I didn't have any shelter, would have been me really wet and having to go home. As it is, come in the shed, ride it out, I can go back out again and skip around and enjoy myself. Anyway, back to these sowings. Nice at this time of year to be able to do something, you know, growy really, because you know, a lot of the other things are coming to an end, a lot of beds are being cleared away. Something growy, didn't want to get too technical on you just then. Right, next one, what have we got here? We've got a little half tray of compost. Boom! I actually had to drill with the camera to the side of my shed. It's been held up by a screw at the minute, trying to get a decent angle. What shall we do next? Right, next one that I'm going to go for now is this one. It's a lettuce. It's called Winter Imperial. Now, it's a bit late to be sowing them to get something that looks like that, but we'll certainly be able to sow them to get something that looks green and leafy and tastes delicious. So we're going to have a go with them as well now. And there we go, they look more like a grass seed or something like that, the little lettuce seeds there. Do you see those? Lovely, lovely. Right, I'm not going to use the whole packet because there's millions in there. Not millions. But again, just a gentle sprinkling and a broadcasting over there with these lettuce seeds. And as they start to grow, I can just pull and eat. The rest will be left to grow on. That's probably already about 500 I've put in there, so we'll put some of these back. Be good for a second sowing. So yeah, lettuce, Winter Imperial. Want to give it a go? Right, next one then, I'm going to have a go at some of these, just some rocket. As you notice in a theme here, a lot of these are just green leafy veg, which is brilliant because that's what you want, isn't it? You just want something to go outside and be able to pick. So some rocket here, again these will have to be picked small, which gives them a much more fiery taste I think, so they're absolutely lovely. So again we're just going to get in there with some of these guys. The rocket seeds there looking decidedly brassicary as well, sort of like little balls, you see those? So we shall get some of those in. One got away. I guess it really was a rocket. Terrible. And then a little covering. Only wants to be a very fine covering if you can get away with it. Yep, moving on to the next one. Yes, there is quite a lot you can plant at this time of year. Although to be fair, they're kind of cheating because this is another spinach here. This one's called Amazon F1. Again, that'll grow away absolutely lovely here in October. So we'll get that one sown up. Smooth, oval-shaped, dark green leaves with good disease resistance. Slow to bolt, bred specifically for spring, autumn and winter cropping. So I'm just reading that off the back of the packet here. Yeah, smooth oval-shaped dark green leaves, good disease resistance, slow to bolt, bred specifically for spring, autumn and winter cropping, suitable for baby leaf and mature leaves. Wow! An amazing source of vitamin A and C in the middle of the winter time. Keep the scurvy away. Surely that's it. I can't plant any more in the middle of October, can I? Yes, yes you can. What you can do, this is not a vegetable or an edible, but it's a sweet pea. Beautiful flowers. Now you can whack some of these in now, and what they'll tend to do is they'll grow. You'll get a little plant and it'll sit like that for most of the winter, and then in the springtime it'll be well ahead of ones that you sow in the spring, fly up and you'll get a really early flourish of colour, which is quite welcome in springtime on the plot. So I've only got a little pot here. What's this? It's about a 3.5, 4 inch pot, is it? Something like that. I'm probably going to put 4 or 5 plants in each one of those, and then in the springtime I can just transplant the whole lot. Slightly different here, I'm just going to fill the pot right up. Well, not right up, it's always good to leave half an inch or so just inside there. Just so that when you water in, all the soil and water doesn't flow out. So we shall do that, and then I'm just going to use my end of my pen here to create a little couple of holes. And you can get down about half an inch with these, something like that, quite deep. And the sweet pea seeds look almost like little peas, to be honest with you. Ta-da! There we go, they're a decent size, nice and easy to handle. I'm just going to drop one in each of those holes. Cover them over, that'll get a drop of water, and there'll be no stopping them. Lovely. So from sweet peas, which are a beautiful flower, we now move on to regular peas. These ones, Kelvedon Wonder. Now, what you're not going to get at this time of year is the actual pods with the peas in them. However, pea shoots, which is the baby plants, are absolutely delicious. So if you want to sow yourself some lovely peas at this time of year, you'll get some tender, fresh greens to eat off of the peas. So we're going to give them a go as well. Seems a bit weird eating the pea plant, but I promise you they are beautiful. You get the little curly tendrils on them as well, so they look absolutely beautiful on your plate. Now we're going to give some of them a go. Because these are not going to grow onto full plants, again I don't have to be too careful about my spacing. We will literally just want these guys to germinate and grow up to a couple of inches tall. I bet you can't guess what pea seeds look like. You're right, they look like dried peas. And what I'm going to do is just try and help myself, use my fingertips. And there you go, my little finger dimples have allowed for very easy spacing of those, if you can see. If you can't, I'll let you have a look. Yeah, and they're going to be absolutely delicious. I do love a pea shoot. Now I've got to try and get the other ones back into the packet. Look at that, I did not pee on the floor at all. Right, bit of compost over the top of them, bit of water, and we've got all the ingredients for life. Beautiful little pea shoots. You might get away with a lot of different types and varieties. I'm just using the cultivation there because they're the ones that I have got. They're going to want to be grown indoors, probably under cover. Lolly stick, lolly stick, lolly 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 stick. I love to lick a lolly stick. Right, pea, kel, there, done. Done. So we're really getting loads of sowing done at the minute, which is lovely because it's great to get your fingers into the compost. We're not done yet though. Cauliflowers. Now this particular one is called all the year round, dead hardy. What you want to do though is start them off under cover in a greenhouse or in a cold frame, and then they will grow away ready for planting out in the springtime, and you'll probably get cauliflowers as early as sort of June time next year if you're lucky. So getting a head start on those is a really nice way of getting yourself a leg up next year. So we're going to try some of these guys as well. So I'm going to put probably 3 seeds for the cauliflowers in one of these pots with the aim to just get one healthy plant out of there. So it's quite late in the year, you never know what's going to happen. You can have an accident, some might not germinate, you might get a pest. So if I do that, and then I can always thin them out later rather than just putting 1 seed in a pot and running the risk of getting nothing at all. My dirty fingers, terrible. Little round balls, little brown seeds. And then just into that hole, I'm just going to put a couple. Might help if I put holes in the other ones. And then, like I say, I can just thin it down to the strongest one. Don't worry, you're not hurting them or killing them. Well, you are, but they're not holding it against you. You'd rather have 1 healthy plant than 10 sickly ones, I'm sure. There we go, that's my cauliflowers. Lovely. Let's give them a little cover over, a dash of water. And then, like I say, under cover in a cold frame or greenhouse. So there we go, as the autumn sunlight comes streaming in through the window, you can see 4 trays of absolute loveliness there, all ready to grow away and keep us fed throughout the autumn and winter months. Now these guys aren't going to be suitable really for growing straight outdoors. You're going to give them as much protection as possible. So these guys are going to want to go in a greenhouse or in a cold frame ideally. And in addition to that, I've also got some of these covers here, which I'm going to place over the top, give them a little bit of extra protection to allow them to germinate and to keep as warm as possible through those winter autumn nights. Winter autumn, you know what I mean, it gets cold at night, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to get all poetical and everything like that, but I ain't got it in me. So I cover them over, they're going in the greenhouse and they'll just grow away, and then I can start to pick those in well, as soon as they start to show really. I should imagine in a couple of weeks we'll start to see some shoots, and a couple of weeks after that we'll be eating, so brilliant. Well, you're probably sitting there now stupefied, absolutely amazed at the amount of plants that you can grow and sow at this time of year, and you're probably thinking that's it now, I'm done, that's enough. No, 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 no. Broad beans people, this is a perfect time to be sowing outdoors. Some lovely broad beans. Now I've got 2 types here. I've got aqua dolce, or I think it's aqua dolce, but it might be agua dolce or agua dulce. There we go, we'll let you decide. Which is that type of broad bean. And we've got the Bunyard's Exhibition as well, that's another type there. And these can both be sown outside right now at this time of year. Again, they'll germinate this year, they'll get so high, they'll sit over the winter, and then in springtime they'll be away, and you'll get crops much earlier than people that decide to sow next year. So absolutely fantastic. I prepared a little seed bed down here, and we're going to get some in. And here we go, here is where my broad beans shall be living. Now you want to give these guys plenty of room, probably about 12" to a foot between plants, and then probably as much as 2 foot in between rows as well, just to give them enough room to grow, flower, get pollinated, and just have enough room to really thrive. Now what I'm going to do then is just mark out my positions. First row can go about there, so we can go 1 there, think I've spilt half the seeds everywhere anyway. And then we're going to go every 12 inch or 300 millimetres. Oh, here's the beans themselves. Just have a quick look over and make sure that they look alright. You don't want any that are, and you see that one there, it's got a little hole in him and something suspicious going on. So just take the time just to find some suitable, nice disease-free ones. Okay. What I'm going to do, again, this is my personal choice, I'm going to plant 2 seeds, and then if I get one that doesn't germinate, at least I've got 1 plant. If both of them germinate, I'll just remove one. It just eliminates the chance of getting a bare patch where none of them have worked. So again, that's just my choice on that one. So we're going to go down about 2 inches. Just going to drop my seeds in there. Your broad beans are going to benefit from cloche protection. What I'm going to use is I've got this carbonated soft drink carton here, so just with a little bit of modification that'll make a perfect cloche to see these through the winter months. And then what I'm going to do is go in there and cut that bottom off. And by doing that, getting your pop bottle, cutting the bottom off, you've got basically a cloche. So when that's there, that provides like a little mini atmosphere, a bit of perfect protection. So what I'm going to do there, take the lid off, that'll allow a bit of air in and out. And then where I've got my bean, I'm going to position that over, get it into the soil a bit. Put that stick over the top there as well as a bit of protection, and then that's a cloche really. When they germinate, they'll be inside there, they'll get a little bit of extra warmth, a bit of heat, a bit of help against the wind. If there's any snow that falls, it won't be sitting directly against them. It's just a good thing. So I'm going to go and cloche all of these up now. And that's the broad bean plants in there. That's another little crop that you can get in now in October. So I've put the half a pot bottle over the top and put a cane through it. That should help it prevent it flying away rather in any of the winds and storms that we get. I shouldn't imagine that they'll move at some point, but you know, we can get them back in, and once the plants are in there, everything should hold steady. So that's broad beans, guys. Lovely. So for me, that is it today. I've had enough. I'm going home. The one thing I didn't show you was my onions. I have got onions in the shed. I didn't get around to putting them out today. But, you know, I'll do that next time. It'll probably be some point during the coming week, and I'll get a little video out. But so long as you know that they can be done as well. Anyway, I shall see you all later. Thank you very much for joining me. Drop me a comment below. Hit the like button. Hit the like button if you liked it. Hit the subscribe button if you really liked it and you want to see some more. Anyway, I shall see you all later. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Adios.